Right, what we're going to be doing today is Chapter 5, Iteration Looping. So I'm getting this from your OneNote notebook. Well, not yours, but you could. It'll be in the programming section. There's a C# handbook. You can right click, open on the Word icon there, and it'll open up in Word. Or you can just scroll through and find it in there, and you can scroll on it. Okay, so looping. Now, looping is a bit different. Compared to Python, there are three main loops that you can use here. There's the for loop. So if you know how many times you're going to loop around, then your for loops you want to go for. And then you've got two options: the do while loop, which is, if you want to do something at least once, then the do while loop is the one to go for. And the while loop, maybe never do something, and that will be the same as what you're used to probably in Python. Okay, so let's start with the for loop. The for, so we have a variable and a start value, and then we have a condition to continue the loop, and then we can either increment or decrement a value there. Now, there's a code snippet, so we should use it. All right, so for tab, and then we're in there. Okay, let's make that nice and big. So all I did then was for tab, it's automatically declared an index variable, or a subscript I, and then it's got length. Length doesn't exist, so you can either put your own variable there or a number. I'm going to put 10, and then we're automatically incrementing that. So if we just console write line, let's just do hello, and then I. Right, so that should output this at 10 times hello with a number on the end, starting at 0 and finishing at 9, which it does. Now let's just pick our way through this for loop here, see how it works. All right, so let's run that again, this time with a breakpoint. So I'm going to be doing F10 to break in. So it says, right, I is 0. Now I know that because I can look down here, or I can just put my mouse over it. Is I less than 10? Yes. Right. So we output hello 0, jump down, jump back up again. We increment I, so it's now 1. And then is it less than 10? Yes it is, and it keeps doing that. So eventually, okay, it will do. So here we go, gets to 10, and then it's no longer true, so it jumps out the loop. Okay, now we can have another. Now that I there is created in the for loop, and it dies when the for loop finishes. So if I've got another for loop, okay, then I can still use I again. But if I'm doing a loop inside a loop, I can't use it again. All right, I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. Now let's say we want to go the other way around. So let's say we want to go off 9, and then I want to go all the way down to 0. So I need to change that around the other way. So while I is less, so I'm starting off at I is 9, and then I need to decrement as well. So I'm going the other way. So that less than is wrong. So I need to make that a greater than. So while I is less than, or, well, let's see what that does. All right. So what I'd like to see is 9 to 0. Will it happen? Well, let's see. Let's run that. Oops, I'm still running at the moment. Right. Probably should have done different letter there. Higher this time, so we know it's different. It's difficult to see from the last one. Right, so higher 9, that's good, but it didn't go down to 1, did it? Because it crashed out. Well, it didn't crash out, but it's when it gets to 0, it's no longer, I is no longer greater than 0. So there's two ways of doing that. I can either go -1 there, or I can leave it at 0 and make that an equal to. Yeah, it's unsatisfactory either way, I think. But there we go. Now I'm going from 9 down to 0. All right, so it's a little. I mean, in VB, it's just a nice, easy thing. It's really easy to do that. Okay. Now, if you want a for loop inside another loop, you can do that. So if I did for, now it's not going to like I. All right, so I'm going to change that to J. Tab again, and notice it automatically updates that. So let's do 10, and I'm going to do console write line. I'm just going to write J loop, and then no, I might as well say what it is as well. J. Oops. J. Right. So now what's going to happen here is it's going to output. It's going to start this loop. It's going to output I, and then it's going to loop round 10 times in here, and then finish off again. So in total, it should have 100 lines of output. Okay, so you can see I've now got hello, and then it does 10 J's, then hello again, another 10 J's. So there should be 100 in total. All right. Now, in terms of how many things can you nest there, loads. All right. Now, just a quick one. If let's say, for instance, your indenting got cocked up. I mean, that's unreadable, but it doesn't mind that. It would run that, no problem at all. It's not like Python. Okay, you can just press Control KD and it will automatically indent it. Remember, indents don't mean anything. So there's your for loop. Okay, now there's some exercises on that, and there's a lot. Right, the do while loop. Now the do while loop is useful if you want to do something, let's just say, at least once. So I want to read in your name, let's say. So let's just get rid of that. Now, before I do that, I'll just quickly show you there is a code snippet. Just do tap tap. All right. So nice and easy. Now, what I probably didn't mention last time, which I know I didn't. There's no semicolon at the end of that line. All right. So use the code snippet, and you won't go wrong there. Now, so the do while loop. So what it does then, it starts here. It keeps going, and while this is true. Okay, it will jump back up again and do it again. All right, so we've got here console write line, enter a name, xxx to finish, name equals that. So enter my name, Ted, and then if I type in xxx, it will stop. All right, so not particularly useful, but we could be adding these names to an array or whatever. So let's just quickly show you the breakpoint. So we've got F10, outputs it, read it in. Right, so let's do Ted, and then back in here, F10 again. Well, does name, name isn't equal to that, so that's true, so it comes back up again. And this time I'll get it to equal it. So it is true. So that fails. I don't like the negative aspect of that, but there's not a lot you can do about that, and it finishes. All right. So as you do while. Now you've probably not seen one of those before. You can always do that with a while loop if you don't like it. So a while loop, there's probably a better number there, reading in numbers. So let's have a look at a while loop. Now a while loop, let's just nick this bit of code here. So what do we have here then? So we have number one, count, running total, number. So while number isn't equal to 0, it's not equal to 0 because it's equal to 1, so it starts that. Now if that fails straight away, then it would jump over, like an if failing almost. Yeah. So we enter a number, 0 to finish, we read in our number, add it to our count, and then add our number to our running total. So if we just run this then, so I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 0. Numbers added up is 3. Now be a bit careful there, because that 0 was actually added to our total there, but because it was 0, it didn't count. So you've got to be careful. Make sure, if I was doing an average there, you want to be careful that that is the actual, if I'm dividing by how many I've had, then you don't want to include the 0, because that was the one to get you out of the loop. All right, so essentially, while number isn't 0, when number is 0, it will jump out of that loop there. Okay. Now the summary there, basically all of these loops here add up. So I write out 1 to 10. There's our while loop. I'm giving count equal to 1, so while count is less than or equal to 10, it writes out that. There's my do while there. Again, same sort of thing again. And then there's our for loop there. I've got an equals to there. Generally speaking, so it's counting starts at 1. Notice this time I haven't declared count here because it's declared at the top. So you don't have to declare it in the for loop, but it's often easier to do so. Often, if I want to, I always do 1 higher. That is the general rule there. And I wouldn't have the equal sign on the less than. But that is essentially it. Okay, so I've gone through that fairly quickly. So they're fairly straightforward. Now, again, if you don't understand them, use your breakpoints. That they are the thing that really, really help, and they are super easy to use. Okay.